Earlier this week, I was in Dallas. I was speaking on Daystar, and a man came to pick me up for the television thing, and he's an African-American driver, and he says, oh, I said, I'm Jonathan. He says, I'm Pharisee. I said, Pharisee? I said, I'm not sure I heard it right. What did we say? He says, no, Pharisee. I said, you're a believer? He said, yes, and I'm Pharisee. And I'm thinking about this. I'm driving. I'm thinking, I turned and said, you've probably gotten a lot of flack for that name. And people saying, stop acting like a Pharisee. You're acting like you're a Pharisee. He said, yeah, I do all the time. I said, but you know what? The name Pharisee is not really a bad name. It comes from it's really a translation of the Hebrew name, Perashim, which means the separated ones. He said, I know that. That's what I'm living by. I'm a holy one for God. He was choosing not to go with a bad identity, with a fleshly identity. Choosing, I'm going with God's identity. I'm one of God's separated ones. I may not feel holy, but I'm going by it in God, by the blood of Messiah. Choose whom you will be in God. That's part of who God called you to be. Your name in God, your identity is not based on one thing that happened in your life. It's based on your journey. Where you going? Where you going? Where every day I'm going to go there. Like Paul said, I press on, I press on, I press on. And then this part of it, it's kind of fascinating. The biblical surname, which we said also was often about where you're from, your origin. And we saw Saul of Tarsus, Mary Magdalene, Jesus of Nazareth. What's your surname of where you come from? Where you come from? Jack of Hackensack, Joe of Bayonne. Where do you come from? Mary of Englewood. There are many of you who were actually probably born in Englewood Hospital. I wasn't even from New Jersey. I was from New York State, but I was born in Englewood Hospital. Englewood. That's my place of birth. That's many of your, but your hometown. It could be your hometown or where you're from, where you grew up. That would be your name. Think about where you grew up. That would have been your biblical name. That would characterize you. But it's not just a place. It's a life. It's your past. Where do you come from? What's your past been? It may be some of you had a tough past. Some of you had a past of rejection. Some of you had a past of drugs. Some of you had a past of defilement, abandonment, of shame. You're in the natural. You come from your past. So that's the place you're from too. Some of you came from a place of sorrow, a place of divorce, a place of failing, a place of abuse, or another place. But the past affects you in the world. Your past causes your future. What you have been is going to affect what you are. That's how it works in the flesh. It affected the people who came from Galilee. When they went to Jerusalem, they said, you're from Galilee because you got an accent. Well, that was their physical thing. They had an accent from Galilee. It tells you your past is where you're from. It affects your life. Just as like a name stays with you. But here's the thing. If you're born again in God, you are no longer from the place you were from. You understand? You have a new hometown. You have a new name. Jesus was called Yeshua min Nitzeret. Try it. Yeshua min Nitzeret means Jesus of Nazareth. Nitzeret. That was his biblical surname. They said it all the time. It was this Jesus of Nazareth, the prophet Jesus of Nazareth. Now think about something. Think about this. What was the first name of believers in the Bible? They weren't called Christians. Yeah, the way was the way, but what were they called? They were called the Nazarenes. Or in Hebrew, the Notzrim. In fact, if you go to Israel today, to this day, you know what they call Christians? They call them the Nazarenes. Now think about that. We were named after Messiah's surname. Our entire identity is from his surname to describe the person, a characteristic of the person, the essence of the person. What does that mean? It means you are now to live with the nature of him. The essence of him. You got the name of him. The characteristic of him means you're living with his surname. You didn't come from Nazareth, but he did. You have his surname. You've got the power to live with his nature, to live holiness, live godliness, live victorious, because he did, and you're in him. You got the power to overcome. But it goes further than that. Nazarene is specifically the surname that shows you where he was from. Where everybody said, can any good come out of Nazareth? He was from Nazareth. And now you're called a Nazarene, though many of you, anybody been to Nazareth? Well, some of you, very few. How many of you have not been to Nazareth? Yet you're called Nazarene. You're called as if you were from Nazareth. You understand? You're all called. So what does that tell you? It means that in Messiah, you have the power to cancel out your old fromness. You used to be from here. Messiah cancels that out. So you have the power to nullify all the bad of the past. You're not of that anymore. You're a Nazarene. You're from a place you never have been before. That means you've got the power to live by his past, not your past. You have the power to be free of your past, whatever it was. And you know, people come into salvation and they still carry all sorts of stuff. You don't have to, but some people never get over it. And then there's the other people who do get over it because they learn this and they become real change people. What it means is whatever your past was, it does not have to determine your life anymore. It doesn't have to limit you anymore. It doesn't have to influence you anymore because you are now given his past, Nazarene, his origin. And what's his ultimate origin? It's heaven. Where did he come from? Heaven. What does that mean? You've got his origin, meaning you are now to live as if you were from heaven.
To find out how you can receive more of Jonathan's teachings, to receive special free gifts, or get in touch, go to hopeoftheworld.org or call toll-free 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821. You can also get more at Jonathan Cahn's Facebook page or write us direct at Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Hope of the World is dedicated to the goal of spreading God's Word and salvation to every land and people. We do this by spreading the Word throughout the world and sponsoring compassion projects to the most poor and needy around the earth. To get in touch or have a part in God's work, just write to Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Or go to hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821.